Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today on Perspectives. Well, did you know when it comes to kidney disease, Alabama is one of the worst states in the nation? Health officials say that the number of people in Alabama who have kidney disease today is more than double the national average. At least 400,000 folk in the state have been diagnosed with kidney disease. Now, here's a very scary statistic. 37 million adults in the United States, more than 1 in 7, are now living with chronic kidney disease, or CKD. And approximately 90% of them do not even know that they have it. Health officials say that developing CKD is usually a very slow process with very few symptoms at first. They say that many who are living with it do not have any symptoms right now until, though, the more advanced stages and or complications develop. Now, anyone can develop chronic kidney disease at any age, and some of us are at a higher risk than others. Kidney failure occurs in Black Americans about 3 times more than in white Americans. Early detection is important. Knowing the risk factors can help you know your level of risk and if you should get checked for CKD. Now, for many, kidney disease is not caused by just one reason. Just a result, though, of many physical, environmental, and social factors. Because of kidney disease, more than 14,000 Alabamians must undergo life-saving dialysis treatments 3 times a week. Alabama also ranks first in the nation for the number of dialysis patients per capita. Kidney diseases are a leading cause of death in the United States. Our guest today to share more about kidney disease and health awareness of it, Nell Gustafson. She is the Mobile Community Coordinator for the Alabama Kidney Foundation. And Lynn Early, she is the Mobile Walk Patient Chair for the Alabama Kidney Foundation. Well, after a quick break this morning, we'll be talking with our guests representing the Alabama Kidney Foundation, Nell and Lynn, about why Alabama is at the top of the list when it comes to kidney disease. How can you find out if you have kidney disease, and what steps to take if you find out that you do have it? Perspectives continues in just a moment. And welcome back to Perspectives. Today we're talking about kidney health, kidney awareness, as well as kidney disease. A very special guest today, Nell Gustafson from the Mobile Community Coordinators. That's her title for the Alabama Kidney Foundation. And also Lynn Early. She is the Mobile Walk Chair for the Alabama Kidney Foundation. Ladies, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for asking us.
You know, I think, Nell, as we were talking, I mentioned to you that when I saw that it was Kidney Disease Awareness Month, I said, we've got to have you all on the program because we lost a dear friend here at the station last year, and I think it just shocked many of us what happened in his health challenge there and the journey that he was on at the latter months of his life. And so I don't think any of us have gotten over it, and it's really something that hits your heart when you see the development and then how quickly sometimes things can happen. And then as you started sharing all the information with me, I was really taken aback because it's stuff that we need to know. And especially if you live in Alabama, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
We need to be aware. And then when we look at the numbers for those who are African Americans, there's something that we need to look at that and see if it's something that we have, say, ignored. And there are so many people in the South who have diabetes. So that being one of the issues to be concerned about. So we thank you so much for coming and sharing today. And I guess one of the things we want to mention real quick, we're coming on at 9 on Saturday morning, and at 9, folks will be at the walk. You will be out there on Saturday morning. And if anyone who is hearing us right now and you want to be on the walk, run out there right now to UMS Wright, and you can watch the program after you get back home.
Okay. That's right. That's right.
Well, let's talk some about this. Now, the other benefit of you both being here today is that you all know firsthand what we're talking about, because both of you all have had transplants. You are recipients of kidneys, and it has been a part of your life Nell now for nearly 15 years.
Correct.
And then, as you called Lynn early today, she is a newbie, but you're knocking on, what, 6 months almost now, aren't you?
Yeah.
So congratulations to you both.
Thank you. Yeah.
And glad that is working out for you. Let's talk first about, when we talk generally about kidney health, kidney awareness, and the disease, what are some of the things that people need to know, the basics, so they can see where they need to go from watching this today, the next step?
I would say the first thing is to know your numbers. Talk to your physician, know what your creatinine is. That checks the levels of your kidney disease.
And that looks like creatine when you see it, but it's creatinine.
Creatinine.
Okay.
And of course your physician will know what to look for, but that's the main thing, is know your numbers.
And is that through blood or
Through
urine
blood.
or through the blood test? Okay.
And, like you said, diabetes and high blood pressure going unchecked, unmonitored, that's what are the number 2 causes for kidney failure.
And that's type 1 or type 2 when we talk about
Yes.
diabetes.
Yeah. So just know your numbers. Love your kidneys and know your numbers.
And we talk about some of the things I noticed in the research. It talks about, looking at what you're eating, what you're drinking, what you're not eating and drinking as well. It's so a part of that whole health awareness issue where you need to be aware of what you're doing. And then if you have those issues with the diabetes or the high blood pressure, you've got to be more on top of things. And I saw a couple of things that scared me, the list of things to be on the lookout for, which I hadn't heard or thought about. And then, so, now it's like awareness, wake up, be aware, and what's going on. So when you talk to your doctor, this would be after, say, maybe a blood test that they would say and see something that they would come to you and say, we need to sit down and talk?
Yes.
Yeah.
Most people need to have that yearly checkup.
Okay.
And at that yearly checkup, they should ask for blood work prior to the visit so he can go over the results when you get there. And those will tell it. And of course, your blood pressure should be checked when you get there. So that would be 2 indicators right there.
Now, one of the things that it's stated in the information is that sometimes you don't have any symptoms, sometimes, and so many of us in America are unaware that we have issues. Did you all feel anything before you realized where you were? Did you have any symptoms? What was it like?
I really did not. I worked up until 3 days before my transplant. I went to work every day. I mean, there are days I didn't feel good, but not really.
Yeah, I didn't know. I had no idea. I was 27 years old and I went to the eye doctor of all places. He took my blood pressure. It was out of control. There's a reason why a 27-year-old has high blood pressure.
Okay.
And so sent me to a doctor, and first thing out of his mouth was, do you have a history of kidney disease in your family? Well, and of course I do.
Okay.
So I had no idea I had high blood pressure. So that's how it can sneak up on you so much, and how you don't realize. And that's why I emphasize, go to your doctor, go to your regular visits, know what your numbers are, your kidney function, your blood pressure, so important. And your watch out for diabetes.
Right. Now, I'm going to ask you this one because usually women, they go to the doctor.
Correct.
So what was going on with
men
Nell?
You men aren't too good at that.
I know,
right.
we're not. So what was going on with Nell? Did Nell not have regular checkups or what?
Not at 27 years old, no.
Okay.
No, I was fine. I was just going to get some new contacts. That's all I was going to do.
Well, what about the issue with your father, since you knew that?
Yeah, I mean, of course, my father had polycystic kidneys, which is what I have. So I always knew there was a chance, but it's a slow-growing disease, and there's not
You
much.
thought that was down the road.
It was down the road.
Okay.
I wasn't thinking about that. So.
And Lynn, for you, what did anything give you an indication that something was going on, or just a checkup?
Well, I'm a classic. I had high blood pressure and diabetes.
Okay.
Diabetes runs in my family. My father died of renal failure. He was on dialysis for 10 years.
Okay.
So I did have, of course, most women go to their gynecologist once a year.
Right.
And that was kind of tipped off there.
Okay. So you were sort of watching along the way in life, and then it finally developed?
Caught up with me.
Okay, okay. Well, you know, that's so important for us to share the information that you all did about the diabetes situation and high blood pressure, because those are things that are very common in our part of the country.
Yes.
And I've been a part of health outreach to men because we're bad when it comes to the doctor and
Well,
going.
some of you may be.
Yeah, well, many of us, and the guys will come to places that we have it somewhere like at the station every year, so they don't have to go to a
Right.
doctor's office, and they'll come here.
Right.
And you know, when you look at those things, we had some of the outreaches we've done over the years. We literally had to take first responders. I'll use that terminology. People working in law enforcement or fire, and we literally had them at the facility. They got their screenings, and
Yeah.
the high blood pressure or the blood sugar level, it was so off the track that we had to literally take one of them to the hospital emergency room.
Oh, wow.
Right from there, because they said the same thing. They had no clue
Right.
that it was that high. We got about 30 seconds here, so we'll take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk more about some of the things to be aware of, as well as how people can get more information from the Alabama Kidney Foundation, as well as participate in upcoming events, because there are more walks coming. May not be in Mobile, but it'll be close enough where folks can participate. Our very special guest today from the Alabama Kidney Foundation. We'll be talking more with both Nell and Lynn shortly. Please stay with us. And welcome back. This morning we're talking about kidney health awareness, kidney disease, and some of the things that we all need to be aware of here, especially living in the state of Alabama, because according to the statistics, it's not the healthiest place when it comes to this issue. Our very special guest this morning, Nell Gustafson, as well as Lynn Early, and we're here talking about some of the things that they are both kidney transplant recipients, and we're talking with Nell, been almost 15 years, and Lynn, she's been roughly half a year, 6 months or so, and so both doing well, doing great, and seeing the benefit of having this. Now, one of the things I thought was interesting, I guess we'll throw it in real quickly, when you were telling me about the kidney, not, I guess, thinking about it or having read it anywhere, you still have your, what you call your native kidneys that are not working,
Correct.
but they're still on board.
Yes, sir. They are.
They're in there.
They're in there.
Okay, and so then you had something added. Share about that a little bit.
The new kidney is put in on this side in the front, and then it is connected to the bladder and the other things that it needs to be connected to. So I have 3 kidneys.
Okay, okay. All right, and now?
Same here.
Okay.
They don't really take out your native kidneys unless you're having extreme problems with them. So far, I'm good. Now mine keep growing and get bigger because that's just the nature of my disease. And at some point, I may have to have them taken out. But it's such an invasive procedure that they don't like to do it while the transplant is occurring.
Wow. And so are they still in some type of functioning mode or just dormant, so to speak?
Probably not.
Okay.
Not so much.
You know, it's interesting because I knew the one of the former transplant surgeons here in Mobile when we had one at South Alabama. And just from hearing some of the things at the meetings they used to have where they brought, you know, a lot of the recipients in and they were talking, sharing, encouraging other folk. And in the conversation, that never came up, and I never thought about it because it just seemed like a very difficult situation to the surgeon, what they had to do, since there was such a, I guess you had to have somebody who really was adept at that type of surgery.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. And we were talking, you both went out of the area. You went to UAB in Birmingham, and then Lynn, you went to New Orleans or at Ochsner's. And so those are 2 of the places that I guess are recommended by the Alabama Kidney Foundation in our region.
Well, yeah, your physician is best to steer you where you need to go.
Okay, but
Yeah.
those are two places that we do know have done good work.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, and that's always important.
That's
Places.
number one with me.
There you go. Me too. I agree with that.
My doctor at Ochsner told me that in 2023, when I had mine, they did 200 transplants in 2022 with 100% success.
Excellent, excellent.
That makes you feel good.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. You want to know what the track record is there. Now, we were talking earlier about the options that someone will have if they have to have a transplant, and there were three types that you mentioned. What were those three different ones when you get one from a live person versus the other two?
Yes, you can get one from a living related donor. That's, I guess, optimal. Is that there is, if I can say that. The next would be a living donor that is not related, and then a cadaver donor, which is someone who has deceased and has requested to be a organ donor.
Because that's the one that we see many of us have on our licenses,
Right.
and that would be considered a cadaver transplant.
Correct. And also, if you do that, make sure you discuss with your family members your wishes.
Yes.
So they'll know what you want to do.
Because sometimes I'm sure there can be some issues there in the
It's
end.
a,
if
it's you know, it's
surprise
a
the people.
traumatic time for everybody, and
Yeah.
you know, yes, very
So,
stressful.
You all have walks to raise awareness. What are some of the things that you tell people when you talk to them if they are coming and they're curious and interested and wondering, especially if they have either diabetes or high blood pressure, or they're someone in their family, they have a family history? Because it seems like even though sometimes you know the information, you don't always take it.
You don't follow through
Right,
like
right.
you should.
So what do you all tell people when you talk to them at the walks and when you also are out giving more information?
I guess the main thing I've already said is just know your numbers and know where you stand. And if you know that you're on a path of going to have some kidney disease, try to do what you can to keep it at bay. You know, I didn't have to do dialysis. I wasn't, and you didn't either, did you, Lynn?
I have a fistula, but I never had
Yeah.
to use it.
So, you know, just know where you are, and if there are things that you can do to prolong it, like my doctor advised me on a diet that I know probably saved me a year or two. But
So we can change our diet.
we can change our diet, and I would not tell anybody to do that without speaking to their doctor
Sure,
first.
sure.
Yes.
But so she put me on a low protein diet because kidneys can't process protein as much as well. So I did that, and I think it bought me some time. And that may be the time you need to try to find a living donor.
Right. How long did it take you all to find your donors? Or how long were you waiting, I should say?
Well, I am one of the blessed ones.
Okay.
I waited 18 months. And my donor was not a relative. He was a member of my church.
Oh, okay.
And we were a match. And
Did you go around asking or letting people know what you were going through?
I did. That's very uncomfortable, just let me tell you.
It's awkward.
but
you don't know what to say.
You don't. I put it on, and at Ochsner, they told me, they said, you have got to ask. They're not going to come up to you and
Right.
say, here's a kidney. You have to ask.
Yeah.
And I put it out on Facebook, and of course my family, and my husband said, you need to go before the church. And I took a deep breath and said, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Well,
I
you were
did.
talking about life.
I did,
Yeah.
and I had a donor from the church.
Yeah.
So it's just, you have to ask.
Have to ask.
Yeah,
Mel?
and like I said, it's awkward, and I didn't know how to approach it either. But my niece came forward. Little story on that. She was adopted at birth, and when she found us, when she was 30 years old, she found her birth family, found out that I would need a kidney, and she said, "I'll do it." So, you know, God sent me an angel
Yeah.
just when I needed
And she
one.
wrote a book.
She
sharing
wrote a
some of
book.
that story,
She
didn't
did. She did.
Yeah,
And
show that there
it's an
because,
adoptee story, a series of extreme decisions It's by Liz Williams Story. Of course, she's gotten married now, so her last name isn't Story anymore, it's Newman. But it talks about her decision on trying to find her birth family and then the decision to donate her kidney to me. Somebody she didn't know for 30 years.
Right, right. So. That is an awesome story.
Yeah.
And then when, I guess, we're at the point now where you all are both out there giving your time and energy and effort to the Kidney Foundation to make sure that people are informed in our area. How is that? How difficult is that to make this information available to people and they'll listen to you?
Well, we hope they listen.
Okay.
So, of course, there's the website, the alkidney.org. And the Kidney Walk is what we do to raise money to help low-income dialysis patients. Okay. We help with daily living needs and transportation needs, among other things, but those are the two biggies. How
expensive is that dialysis? I see places all around, and there's one name company that's everywhere, too.
Fresenius.
Yes. Is that expensive?
Yes. I wish I knew some figures for you, but I know it is because my mother was on dialysis, so I know Medicare took care of a lot of it, but yeah, it's quite an expense.
So it's best to get your stuff together and not have to deal with those expenses, because and they can stay for a while. I had a friend who was on dialysis for about 3 years or so before he passed, and it was one of those kind of things, 3 times a week.
3 times a week, yes.
Ladies, thank you all so much for coming and sharing today. I'm sure we haven't been able to share everything, but I think what you have today, sharing about yourselves and the things that you went through, and some very good tips for being active on the front end of this thing.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
Lynn Early and Nell Gustafson. Did I get it?
Gustafson.
Gustafson, there you go.
It's okay.
Go to the phone number and the website for more information. Of course, you can watch this program again to hear both of the ladies' stories, as well as about Nell's niece and the book there, to make sure that you can do what you may want to do for someone, a loved one in your family. Now remember, you can also find all the episodes of Perspectives on our website, as well as all of our social media pages. I'm Eric Reynolds. We'll see you next time here on Perspectives.